As you may all know, today the Liberty Movement is all abuzz with the endorsement of Mitt Romney by Senator Rand Paul. Okay, first question. Yeah, I hadn't heard what Rand Paul had said about Mitt Romney. Do you have some audio so I could hear what he said? Yes, absolutely. We have the audio of Senator Rand Paul endorsement of Mitt Romney. Jimmy, would you go ahead?
Well, you know, my first choice had always been my father. I campaigned for him when I was 11 years old. He's still my first pick. But, you know, now that the nominating process is over, tonight I'm happy to announce that I'm going to be supporting Governor Romney.
I have to admit, Rand Paul's endorsement of Mitt Romney surprised me as well. But on to the second question. Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to know what Alex Jones thinks. I know a lot of people look to him as one of the leaders of the Liberty Movement. So, do you know what Mr. Jones thinks about the situation?
Yeah, great question. Yes, absolutely. We do actually have a soundbite of a comment Alex Jones made about the situation. Jimmy, go ahead and play clip 3.
Alex Jones here with a message to Ron Paul, as well as his son, Senator Rand Paul. I have supported you, Congressman, for 17 years on the air. I've interviewed you more than 200 times. And you have a voting record that is 100% constitutional. And I have supported you because you've been a man of no compromise. There can be no compromise with tyranny and oppression and unconstitutional usurpation of our liberties. You know that. And I watched the last few months in horror, knowing how the delegate process works, as your campaign encouraged your supporters to build up the biggest delegate count they could to supposedly take over the nomination. And to now see you come out and say, we're still going, but be respectful, and yes, I can see we won't get enough delegates, taking wind out of your own sails and out of our sails. And at the same time, have your son, Senator Rand Paul, come out and with pleasure endorse Mitt Romney. It's painful to watch. What did you expect to happen from this? Well, you're very politically smart. You knew it would blow up in your face. And I have to tell you, I am not going to go down on the Ron Paul ship. If you don't come out and explain yourself to your constituents and supporters, this is going to spread like a cancer through Campaign for Liberty. It's going to be a wedge that the globalist, corporatist media can use to drive into the liberty movement.
Yes, sir. Well, I'd like to actually know what you feel about this situation. What are your personal feelings? I know you're really in tune with the Liberty Movement, so how do you feel about this surprise endorsement by Rand Paul? Well, that's kind of a surprise. My personal take on the situation. Well, first off, I can see why Mr. Jones and many other in the freedom movement are upset at the Pauls, as they feel that they've been stabbed in the back by what most in the Liberty Movement feel are the leaders. I have a different take on things, however. Even back when the Constitution was first founded, some compromises had to be made to further the cause and to get it to a place where the Constitution could be ratified by all the states. Maybe on the surface it looks like they're compromising their principles, but their biggest guiding principle is the Constitution, and nothing they have done goes against the Constitution. Now, if they were to start voting out of line with the Constitution, that is another story altogether. But a simple endorsement does nothing to their voting records, which in the past has been stellar, as Mr. Jones notes. I think everybody's biggest fear is that Ron and Rand Paul are going to be converted to the dark side, and it may be true. I surely hope not, as it would crush me personally, as Dr. Paul is one of my personal heroes. If the system is able to change them, is it not also possible for them to change the system, which from the inside will be much easier to do? Very little can be done from the outside of the system without huge amounts of people, and sadly, there aren't that many people in this country that are awake, so those types of numbers right now are not attainable. If Ron and Rand do not do something, it is very likely that after the election, their voices will be silenced and they will not be able to get to people that need to hear their message. The people that are already in the Liberty Movement, like myself and everybody out there listening, are not the ones that need to hear the message. It is the ones that are not yet awake that need to hear the message. Most of those people will not hear the message if Ron and Rand Paul can't get their voices out there. Hell, even with positions in leadership, they aren't going to get much, but if they have no power at all, they will never be heard. For most of the election cycle, Ron Paul has been talking about delegate count, not so much to win the nomination, but to have the biggest impact possible on the party platform. Well, again, that will be much easier to influence from the inside than it will be from the outside. A couple things that strike me about what Mr. Jones said is how Ron Paul has a 100% track record of following the Constitution and has always proven he will stand up for liberty. If that is the case, and I believe it to be, let's not lose faith so easily in a man that has a 30-year track record, longer than almost anybody else in the movement, for always working for liberty and freedom. The other thing that strikes me about what Mr. Jones said is how he fears that the globalists will use this to form a wedge in the movement. Well, with statements from Mr. Jones like this, he is helping to drive that wedge into the movement. Many people listen and respect Mr. Jones, me being among the many. And if he at least was to say, let's keep a cool head for right now and see how this thing plays out, it will go a long way to helping calm people down and to maintain the movement. If we lose faith in the man that is considered the head of the movement so easily, it is us, not the globalists, that will be the ones that drive the wedge into the movement.